Thanks for coming. Thanks. Why don't we begin by having everybody introduce yourself and give your name spelling.
I am Reverend Teresa Deer, T-H-E-R-E-S-A, D as in David, E-A-R, an associate minister here at DuPage AME Church, and I'm also on the executive committee of the NAACP.
I am Reverend Lana Miller, L-A-N-A-M-I-L-L-E-R, and I am on staff here at DuPage AME Church, executive pastor here at DuPage AME Church.
Reverend Dr. James, J-A-M-E-S, Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, senior pastor of DuPage AME Church.
Shantae Needham, S-H-A-N-T-E-N-E-E, D like David, H-A-M like Mary, Sandra's my sister.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat, spell your last name again?
N like Nancy, E-E, D like David, H-A-M like Mary.
Cannon Lambert, C-A-N-N-O-N-L-A-M-B-E-R-T, senior, family attorney.
Sharon Cooper, S-H-A-R-O-N, C like Charlie, O-O-P-E-R, and I am Sandra's older sister as well.
Geneva Reed Veal, that's R-E-E-D hyphen V-E-A-L, and I am Sandra Bland's mother.
Reverend Morgan Dixon, M-O-R-G-A-N-D-I-X-O-N. I'm the church administrator here at DuPage AME Church.
Obviously, we are here because of the circumstances surrounding Sandra Bland. Fortunately, we have successfully been able to go and get our sister and our daughter and bring her home. Today and going forward, the family is preparing for the homegoing celebration that Sandy Bland will have here at this church. And as a consequence of that homegoing, and until that homegoing occurs, her mother has elected to forego any comment to the media at this time. So I will start off by asking that you understand and appreciate that she will not be taking any questions of any kind at this particular point. I know that there's a lot of questions that are surrounding the dash cam, and we wanted to take this opportunity to respond to the dash cam and what is displayed in it. If you look at the dash cam, I think that you see right out of the gate, you see from that dash cam that this could have easily been avoided. There was very little reason that can be gleaned from the dash cam why Sandy had to be asked to put her cigarette out, why Sandy had to be asked to get out of her car, why Sandy had to be subject to the officer pointing a taser at her, why Sandy had to be thrown to the ground and hurt. There are even more questions that have come out of Texas than we had when we went down there. Now there's the dash cam, and we don't know the circumstances surrounding the footage on the dash cam. We're not in a position where we are going to say that it has been tampered with. We are not in a position where we can say that it has not. We simply don't know. I'm not a forensic media examiner, but now I know that we're going to have to get one. The long and short of it is that we want everything that happened from the time that the police interfaced with Sandy up until the time that she was found to have died and beyond to come to light. Right now, Sandy is speaking, and this family feels that Sandy is speaking. She's speaking, saying, find the truth, find the answers. We want the answers, and Sandy demands them, and we will find them. The reality of it is that when this family had to see that dash cam, the emotion that it drew from them was extraordinary. And we want to give you an opportunity to talk to their spokesperson and ask them some questions about that. And with that, should there be any questions of me, you certainly can ask me a few. Yes.
A couple things have come to light, not with the dash cam, but on the video, on the dash cam, she does say she suffers from epilepsy. In another video that she made, she said she suffered from depression and PTSD. Can you shed any light on that? And was she taking medication? And if so, what was she taking for that?
I can tell you that we take issue with the notion that she was suffering from depression. She was never clinically diagnosed, as this family understands. Everybody has hills and valleys, and the bottom line is that there was no medication that we are aware of that she was taking to address any sort of epilepsy or depression.
So you don't even, it's not even clear that she had epilepsy either?
The long and short of it is that with regard to her medical history, none of that has anything to do with why that stop took place. And
no,
so
not
why?
that stop,
No,
in
no.
jail, what happened?
What I would say to you is that despite the effort to try and divert the energy and attention from what really happened, we will not fall subject to it. This happened because an officer was overzealous. This happened because an officer decided that he wished to overstep his authority, and that's where our focus is going to remain for the current time.
But it goes to whether or not she committed, it raises questions whether or not she committed suicide.
What raises questions is why it is that a 28-year-old woman who had received 2 job offers would take her own life. What it does is it raises questions. It raises questions why a 28-year-old woman would call her mother in excitement about those 2 jobs and then take her life. Sandy was a social activist. Social activists don't take their own life, particularly in jail. Just doesn't make sense.
There's a newspaper report that she had told jailers that she had tried to commit suicide in the past. Is that true?
We can't wait to see what's in all of the reports that they have. I know that you don't have them all, and neither do we. This investigation is ongoing, and we look forward to it being completed. We don't know what they are alleging that she told them. I know what the newspaper article said, but until I see the reports, I won't be in a position where I can respond to that question.
Can you talk a bit about her act? That she was an activist. I know we've seen the videos that she posted online. What other things did she do as an activist? Was she involved in protests of an organization? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Sandy daily, or for the most part daily, made posts, inspirational posts, efforts to try and bring other people up. She put her arms around people. That's why there's been such a groundswell of support for her.
Were there other components to that activism that we should know about? Protests and like that?
Well, if you mean speaking up for the interests of the many, caring for kids and the generation behind her, yeah, she was an activist.
Sir, do you think Sandy did anything wrong during that traffic stop? Some people are asking, why didn't she just cooperate with that?
Well, here's the problem. Citizens have rights. And when you lay down your rights voluntarily, you forego the enjoyment of those rights. And I don't know that you have an obligation to give away your rights. This country was founded on the citizens in it enjoying its rights, their rights. That's what Sandy was doing.
But just to follow up on that, if she would have just gotten out of the car and not been in any way negative towards the police officer, whether he deserved it or not, if she would have just, stepped out of the car and cooperated, Could this all have been avoided?
Can I
I-
address that question, please?
You were again, ma'am, your name again?
Sharon Cooper. I just would like to address the question. In looking at the video, I've seen the video in its entirety. Sandy was pulled over for failure to indicate a proper lane change. And in looking at that, as her sister, I simply feel like the officer was picking on her. Point blank, period. And I personally think that is petty.
Do you believe he pulled her over because she was black?
I think he pulled her over because she was an out-of-state resident. That's what I think.
Ms. Cooper, would you see your sister crying out in anguish? What was your response to that?
I'm infuriated, and everybody else should be infuriated as well. From the petty charge to the officer asking her, let's be clear, he asked her, can you put your cigarette out for me, please? That's not an instruction. That's not a summons. That's an ask. He asked her, and she simply responded, no, I don't have to put my cigarette out. I'm in my own car.
Did Sandra have a court date after she was arrested? I mean, did she make an appearance in court?
She did make an appearance in court, and she'd been given bond at that time, which we were working on expeditiously to give her. It has not been shared with us that she had a court date.
Sharon, what level of confidence do you have in the investigation that is ongoing right now with Texas authorities as well as federal?
They've been cooperative to date, and we hope that they will continue to do so.
What
Have
does it
you
mean
done
to
your,
you?
have you had the autopsy you folks want? Has that been done? Do you know the results of that yet?
Quite frankly, I'm disgusted that we're even having a discussion about an autopsy. Because she was pulled over for something so insignificant, and because of an officer who felt like maybe his ego was bruised and got in the way. Not once did he ever say he felt threatened. But when you tell me that you're going to light me up, I feel extremely threatened and concerned, and I'm not going to get out of my car.
What does it mean for your family to have her back now as you look toward the weekend and have gone to bring her home? How has that been for all of you? And tell me about how that must be.
I will be frank with you that it is a brief moment of gratification. It's brief because we know that in the coming days, we are going to have to lay our awesome, beloved daughter, sister, friend, aunt to rest. That's very difficult. It's the longest flight I've ever had. I'm sure my mother feels the same way, and my sisters do as well.
Can you all talk about some of the outpouring from the larger community about this and what that has meant for your family and also what you want to see going forward?
Absolutely. I would be happy to. It has been awe-inspiring, and I've kind of stepped back and looked at her and said, what am I doing with my life? Because let's be real here. She has been in the forefront of everybody's mind for the last 7 days, but that peaked within 72 hours. From the love and support of people who knew her, who personally knew her in this community and this church, abroad where she went to school, people love her and genuinely care about her. I don't know if you all understand the magnitude of what was going on with Sandra Bland this weekend. On Saturday, the rock at her old high school was painted. Rest in peace, Sandy. We love you so much. Tons of people showed up to support her. That following day, there was a prayer vigil in Houston, Texas at Hope AME Church, where the community came out in droves to support her and stand with us in solidarity. There were dignitaries from the state of Texas who were there, which I can clearly tell you is a display on our end, that they're there in solidarity with us and because they feel the very same way, that they have questions and something is wrong. Following that, we just had a memorial service for her yesterday evening where I can tell you that there were well over 200 people there. Coupled with our prayer walk last week, she has been in the minds and thoughts of everybody. And I cannot tell you how appreciative we are, how much we have truly, it's anchored us as a family much more than you will ever know. You want to talk about the power of social media and using social media for good. So my ask, my family's ask, close friends of Sandy's ask, please keep tweeting. Keep tweeting, keep Facebooking, keep Instagramming, keep Snapchatting, Keep utilizing the hashtag Justice for Sandy. Keep utilizing what happened to Sandra Bland. Keep utilizing Sandra Bland, and my all-time favorite, keep hashtagging Say Her Name. Because the minute that you forget her name, you forget her character, and that she was a person. So that is my humble ask on behalf of me and my family.
Sharon, the state senator down there is asking that whatever grand jury is impaneled to investigate this case be racially mixed so that there's no accusations of bias in there. In light of that and just the grand jury investigation, how hopeful are you that you're really going to find out the truth of what happened after the traffic stop?
My hope is based off of execution and not promises. We just want to make sure that the things that are being communicated to us are honored. And so we want to make sure that there is ongoing collaboration, effort, and transparency in terms of finding out what happened to Sandra Bland.
Have the Texas authorities said anything to the family about this officer's behavior? Have they commented about the way this officer behaved during that traffic stop?
They've commented about as much as you all have read, which is simply that it was inappropriate. And they put him on administrative leave. I do understand that he's on administrative leave at this time.
Sure. But they haven't detailed what he did wrong with the family in conversation?
No.
What do you all give a timeline again
The
about
fact that it
what?
was altered and that they've released one that they claim is not altered now?
That's not our specialty. We'd certainly seek out an expert who could clarify that for us, so we won't respond to that at this time.
Are you all just kind of in a holding pattern until the investigation is complete? You're going to do the homegoing service. You want to get to that first. Walk us through the timeline of what legally you feel like you can do next and just what that process will look like.
Legally,
If you would say.
I'm sorry. Legally, we are in the process of kind of scouring the area to try and find individuals that might have information regarding how the incident happened, or might have information regarding what happened in the jail. In addition to that, we're also continuing to ask for the documentation that we have not yet been given. Understand that the baseline, in many respects, will start or will be what's in the reports. We want to know what happened as it relates to when she was transferred to the jail by the arresting officer. We want to know what the people that booked her were told by the officer. We need to understand what happened to her once she was put in a jail cell, and whether or not she was moved and with what frequency she was moved. There are a whole host of things that when we look at the reports that we get from the sheriff, the reports that we get from the Texas Rangers, the reports that we get from the Department of Public Safety, and for that matter, if the FBI has reports, what all of those reports say.
Mr. Lambert, just to be clear on there's reports that she told the jailers there that she tried to take her own life. Have there been any evidence or any instances that has she ever tried to take her life?
This family has no evidence that that is the case. None. We know for a certainty that when she went into that jail, she was ecstatic. She had just gotten to Texas the day before, and she was about to start a job, and she had gone grocery shopping and filled her refrigerator. She had left messages with her loved ones, and that just does not jive with someone who would take her own life.
One more question.
Ken, are you preparing a wrongful death lawsuit in this case?
We are looking to have this investigation be completed in a thorough, complete, and full-bodied way. And if a lawsuit comes out of that, so be it.
When will you get her cell phone back?
Well, that's part of the investigation, and we're looking for that.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Miller, can we just ask you one question, please? We talked to one of your church members who said that the expectations for the young people of this church were very high, that a good number of young people in the congregation here have gone on to college. Talk about the messages that you passed on to the young people of this church.